Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Season 1. We're going to talk about it, but just a little preface about this. Disney, this is what if should have been.
It's the show I didn't realize I really wanted.
Right?
Right. Like you saw the Spider-Man preview, we gave praise to the trailer. We were going to talk about the first few episodes, but when we were trying to plan out when we were going to record this. However, we finished the season, I think 12 episodes.
Something like that, maybe 10.
But yeah, 10 episodes, but it was so well received. It was season 2, and I think even possibly a season 3 was already greenlit.
Oh, I don't know about
But I
3. I know 2 was,
But
I believe.
two's already in development,
Yeah.
maybe even in production. Who knows at this point? But they knocked it out of the park with this one. This was really friggin' good.
So what you're telling me is between this and Wolverine, Deadpool and Wolverine, and maybe Cap 4, maybe Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, maybe Disney is listening to people and
Yes,
they're doing
indeed.
something. Okay, good. All right. So now let's go back into
The
this. So here's what I love about it. I love the fact that we still got Peter Parker. We still have somewhat of an origin story. I like the fact that it's not Tony Stark that's his mentor, but we got someone more nefarious as his mentor, being, Norman Osborn, who we know is the Green Goblin. But at this point, we don't even know if he's going to be the Green Goblin.
well,
There are hints. But anyway, so here's the thing. This, like I said in the intro, the reason why I believe this is what if should have been is because they took a character that everyone knows everything about, and what they did was they turned it into something different.
the,
You introduced Tombstone, who is a Spidey bad guy, and now he's one of Peter's good friends, right? You brought in Norman Osborn, who's normally at his what is it called? He's against Spider-Man, and now he's helping Spider-Man. Even helped him get different costumes and build different costumes, blah blah blah. So, what do you think about that?
it's a nice change because Norman Osborn Green Goblin is Spider Man's arch nemesis.
Right.
Like Joker is the Batman, of course. But it's a nice change of pace. What I liked was they did a similar Spider-Man origin story in the MCU. Still back to 2016. They still had a Civil War, their own version.
Right.
They had that shot right from the movie in the airport with Ant-Man as Giant Man, but Spider-Man was not involved. But they almost had an identical shot, like Tony Stark going to May and Peter's apartment, but it was Norman Osborn in his place, and he was the mentor.
Right, exactly. And that's why I think this should have been this is what if should have been. Because what if was all about what if this character did that instead of what it did, in the MCU. This is exactly what it should have been. You got Spidey, but you got a different take on Spidey. It's the same Spidey that we know and love,
Right.
okay? Except there's different characters in the background. Because instead of it being, hey, Tony Stark is going to help me, hey, it's going to be, Norman Osborn. You know what I'm saying?
We did get an Iron Man cameo.
Cameo, yeah. But that cameo was like a split second, and it was for what? To pick up Doc Ock and bring him to, Dr. Octavius, to bring him back to jail. So
with Norman Osborn, Omen Domingo, like long rumored, to be the new Kang, or at least he admitted he had talks with Marvel Studios about taking over the character. This is a nice surprise that he took it on. It's a show that's not in the main MCU, at least not yet, or in 616. So other actors could play other roles, but he brought like a swagger and a coolness to the character
that we normally did not ever get.
Right. Norman Osborn still had, the Easter egg hints, the hair, the green suit, and then spoiler alert, as we saw in the finale, that he used Peter and the three other genius kids to build what he want, and he is power hungry. You saw how
Right.
ambitious that he really wanted his tech back that Dr. Ox stole from him.
And that's the beauty of it. What happened in that final episode, right? We went into a full circle to the beginning of the show.
Right.
Right? Because you had what's his face? You had Doctor
Dr.
Strange,
Strange.
right? Show up and say, I don't know what the hell you people are talking about, me going to a school or anything like that. And then when they opened up the portal and they found what we think is the Venom symbiote, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's just sitting there saying like, I don't know what you people are talking about, but I'm going to fight this thing because it came out of the the portal from whatever dimension. And all of a sudden they open up another portal and he goes back in time.
Yeah, and it was a time paradox, which was an interesting twist that they did in the finale.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying like, this is what if should have been.
It was like Groundhog's Day at the beginning and then at the end.
Right.
So who knows how much of that loop goes on and on.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yep.
But it brings up a good thing because in season 2, anything could happen, right?
I like that they kept Peter and Dr. Ox separate.
Yeah, that they didn't see each other
He was
yet.
the main nemesis. Like, he provided the tech. Like, he doesn't have his fully arms, but he had the stolen tech that he was giving the villains, like Scorpion. It's going to be interesting. And then you had the big tease with, like, in his lab, he had the arms. I thought they were going to come out of his back under his jacket, but they were really connected to the ceiling.
Right.
And it was going after the agents. But you saw how he was in his jail cell and he drew it up and the camera pans out. So it's going to be great to see how he gets that. A lot of great nods, a lot of great Easter eggs.
This show is full of Easter eggs between all the other costumes that he put on, where it was the white one where he was Future Foundation, the other 4 where he was Ricochet, Hornet.
Covered a lot of costumes.
Yeah,
right?
he
That
covered
was-
a lot of costumes.
But do you think they rushed him getting to the classic comic,
No.
classic costume? You think they should save that reveal for the final episode or even season 2?
No. Not at all. Not
I
at all.
like that it was cool. Like, it was in his drawings on his pad that fell out of his bag, but he gave it to Harry, and they had it designed by the Oscorp scientist. So he was in it. Like, I thought maybe they rushed it a little bit, but it still looked amazing.
Well, what did you think of Harry? Harry being his how did he say it? His man behind.
His man in the chair.
Yeah,
well,
his man
that's
in the
what,
chair.
Well, that's what Ned said in the Spider-Man movies.
Right. But again, the point that I'm trying to make is the fact that this was a different take on Harry Osborn, right?
I like
he's
that-
like the influencer, and then he's also just Spider-Man's guy behind the table,
I liked how they modernized it. Like, he still, made it. They made him the Instagram influencer or TikTok influencer, but he still became Peter's best friend and go-to guy.
Right.
And he still has the connections and the power to plant seeds for a future villain. I like what they did with him, and he founded his own company, and he sent out the email to the geniuses of the Marvel Universe. Like, that was cool that you had the names on the wall.
Yeah, you had all the different names on the wall.
Like, some
yeah.
of them were like acknowledged, like a writer or somebody on the crew of the show.
Right, but it doesn't matter though. The
Yeah.
point is that they did that, and they were just like, "Hey, we're throwing those little Easter eggs out there for people to understand."
Like, and then you have the slow burn of Lonnie, who's going to become Tombstone.
Who became Tombstone?
He thought maybe with Donovan, who like ran away, like.
Yeah, what a pansy, man.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here. Like, what are you doing? You're
Yeah.
supposed to be this tough, gang leader, and all of a sudden you were just like, "Hey, I'm out. Deuces."
I love the take they did on Scorpion. They really redefined him. Like, they made him more tougher. Like, he still had the psychotic breakdown when he took on the technology. It doesn't look as gimmicky like he does from the '90s cartoon. The
Right.
comics.
What I liked about Scorpion was the fact that they acknowledged that he used to be a private eye.
Yeah.
They mention that in passing, and yet he uses that to his advantage in order to become this great gang leader
Right.
because he's like, I will find you and I will end you. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that was pretty cool that they did that.
And a popular character voiced by a popular actor that we love on the show. Like we got a dose of Daredevil. Of course, they had to make him voiced by Charlie Cox naturally. What did you think of that twist that he had like one of the heroes on the inside was really his eyes and ears to keep an eye on what's going on in Oscorp?
So I like that. And you know what? It makes sense how a superhero will have somebody on the inside to be feeding him information, letting him know what this person, that person is doing. So yeah, that was a good thing to do.
And like Peter, when him and Peter squared off on the roof, and then he broke into Oscorp, like he's totally, Peter doesn't know better yet that Norman Osborn, what is he really up to? He's provided him, his eyes and ears, and
Right.
he's his mentor. It's not into the final episode like Peter's like has to take a step back here, where he used the kids' genius to create that portal, like because he thinks the Avengers, the events of Civil War, and what happened in Sokovia, so the Avengers got too much power, and humans should have a way to fight back.
Yeah, I like that. That was it was a good way of turning things around.
It was
Making it look like we need to do this. Like when he called up Thunderbolt Ross, right? And he's like, we need to be able to do this so that way in case anything happens, we're able to take care of it.
Like it felt like the classic comic from the 1960s with the look of it, with the mix of modernize it, like still,
And the
like,
theme song.
The theme song was amazing. Like it was hip and cool. Like shout out to Jeff Trammell, the creator and the showrunner. Like how he put the show together.
Right.
Like it's amazing. Like
You know what you know what I kind of was disappointed, but I kind of liked that happened. The fact that this was originally supposed to be the introduction to our version of Spider-Man from the 616 from the MCU, and this was supposed to be his origin story.
I hope they
but
still do.
instead we get this different take and different version of it, and I really enjoyed it. If they left this as the origin story for Spidey, I'd be all for it.
I hope they still do something at some point to explain his origin story. But how many times can you tell it with?
But this was a fresh take, and it was great,
take.
and I loved it. So, just so you guys know, with great power comes great
respect.
Respect. So,
how could you tease the classic line and like give it? Like you said, it's a new twist on everything. I'm sure we'll get it anyway.
What do you guys think? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was a piece of shit, or did you think that maybe Marvel is listening to what we and everyone else want from an actual cartoon or TV show, either or? But let us know in the comment section down below.